Deep in the forests of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, a region known as Indochina hides an incredibly dense pocket of biodiversity. Over 600 distinct species of amphibians and reptiles live inside these borders. What makes that number truly striking is that roughly a quarter of those species were completely unknown to science until the last 15 years. For biologists, the map of life here is still largely blank. Before any protection strategies can be designed, researchers have to figure out exactly where these animals live and identify the specific environmental conditions that allow them to survive in such small pockets of the jungle. Scientists divide Indochina into 19 distinct biogeographic subregions to track exactly where specific frogs, turtles, and reptiles are found. These boundaries weren't drawn by humans. They align perfectly with the natural geography of the land, the rivers and mountain ridges carved by Earth. To understand this distribution, we look back 400 million years. Continental blocks began rifting from Gondwana. Slowly, these plates drifted to higher latitudes, ultimately colliding to form the Southeast Asia we know today. This violent tectonic history crushed the land, creating a highly fractured topography. Flat, isolated valleys are immediately bordered by sheer, towering limestone mountains. This geological forge built the physical walls and corridors that have directed animal evolution across the region ever since. We can see this in the data. This cluster analysis phylogram maps the similarity between animal populations across the region. Look at Group A. It shows species in northern Indochina share a tight biological connection with southern China, rather than the fauna to their south. To understand why, you have to look at the geography bisecting this northern landscape, the Red River. The Red River operates as an impenetrable dividing line. Frog populations on the northeast bank are physically cut off from those on the northwest bank. For a small amphibian or reptile, crossing this deep, fast-flowing water is impossible. The river walls them off, forcing the two sides to evolve independently. Moving south into the central zone of Indochina, the terrain pushes upward into the rugged Annamite mountain range. These peaks function like islands on land. Their high-altitude ecosystems are entirely cut off from the warm, flat environments below. This extreme isolation creates endemism, a biological process where species adapt exclusively to one highly specific location. This phenogram charts amphibian distribution, and it perfectly captures this isolation. Notice the deep split separating Group C and D. Because amphibians rely on highly specific microclimates, they can't hike out. Trapped at high altitudes over millions of years, these populations adapted to their narrow environments. The Annamites acted as an evolutionary pressure cooker, generating a localized explosion of unique life forms. Drop down into southern Indochina, and those steep karst peaks flatten out into massive, expansive lowlands. Here, the dominating feature is the immense Mekong River system. But unlike the impassable rivers of the north, the Mekong does not block animal movement. Instead, these flat, interwoven floodplains act as a biological highway. Fauna can spread freely and mix across the entire region. But that easy movement abruptly stops at the ocean. Indochina's long coastal regions are dry, salty, and harsh. It is a severe survival filter, where less than 5% of the region's amphibians can live. While the northern mountains build walls, and the southern floodplains build highways, the coast acts as strict gatekeeper. Only highly specialized, resilient reptiles can thrive in the sand and salt. The distribution of these 600 species is not random. It is a direct biological map of Earth's physical history. These animals are living archives. Their bodies and their exact locations record the tectonic collisions of the deep past and the intersection of tropical and subtropical climates. Yet our understanding of this map is still rapidly evolving. Taxonomy and geographic mapping in Indochina have massive gaps, with new species being cataloged every year. Biologists have to conduct aggressive ground surveys now, documenting this biodiversity, before agricultural expansion and urban growth replace these microhabitats with fields and pavement. We cannot protect what we do not understand. The ecological map proves there are still countless distinct species waiting to be identified, undiscovered life that could vanish before we even know it exists.